All right, good morning. It's Bill Hurlbrink and Taylor Johnson coming to you from up in the newsroom here this morning. Unfortunately, some tragic breaking news from over in near Buckner, Missouri this morning. A house fire that we're learning about on North Lakeview Road there in portions of Buckner. That's unfortunately killed a 13-year-old girl, left two parents or two adults in serious condition in the hospital, also injuring a firefighter earlier this morning. Again, this was just about 5:30 this morning over off North Lake City Valley Road on the eastern parts of Independence, western edge of Buckner, Missouri. And Taylor, just a horrible news to wake up to here on what's supposed to be a joyous holiday here across the city.
Yes, for sure, for sure. And so what we know so far, as you mentioned, it happened around 5:30 this morning in the city's eastern outskirts. And so we're told that upon arrival that the farmhouse fire was fully visible from the street. And we just wrapped up hearing from a fire official out there on the scene, and they said that it was a 2-story house. You could see the damage there. The firefighters, again, they pulled out a 13-year-old girl and 2 adults. She was declared dead on the scene while her parents were rushed to a nearby hospital, one in critical condition, the other in serious condition. Independence fire crews, they did get on scene to assist. They also say that the fire marshal is going to be helping in that investigation. And we do have a crew out there right now. We have Morgan Rydell, who just wrapped up that interview with the fire officials. She is on standby to give us the latest. Morgan, what have you learned since being out there?
Yeah, we first got out here just maybe about 30 minutes ago. We heard the chainsaws working on the scene here. There are still a lot of crews out here right now. I'm going to move out of the way so you can see this scene a little bit more. This house, there's still smoke coming out of the house. We just finished up this interview with fire officials. They told us initial signs look like there's been some heavy impact to the back of this home here, possibly where this fire started. But of course, that is all just beginning the investigation. This is going to be a long investigation out here to just figure out what happened and where this fire started. During our conversations out here, while we don't know what exactly happened, one big message on this 4th of July, just making sure smoke detectors are working, that your home has them. This is a very old home, so they don't exactly know exactly what happened out here, but it was completely in flames when firefighters got to this scene here. And there are still quite a few of them out here. This is going to be a long investigation. These crews, they've kind of just started getting their hoses up a little bit, just kind of beginning that initial investigation into what happened here, and we'll be sure to bring you all of those updates as we learn them, guys.
And Morgan, we know that Independence Fire came to assist Fort Osage Fire Protection District on this. Did they say anything about the cause of the fire or how fast that maybe the Independence crew had to react once they were called in to assist the other fire department?
Yeah, this was the first crew on scene. They found it completely engulfed in flames. This fire was very active when that first crew arrived. They were able to knock it down a little bit, get additional crews out here, but you can see it is still smoking. So this isn't completely out yet. We don't see any flames. And of course they are picking up a little bit more, but you know, this picked up very quickly.
All right, Morgan Rydell, again, live out in near Buckner, Missouri, on the scene of this deadly house fire.
Yes, and so for those of you who are just joining us, we just want to just give you a quick recap of what we're discussing here. So we do have a breaking news situation near Independence. A 13-year-old girl has been killed in a house fire, and 2 adults who are being reported as her parents were taken to the hospital for injuries. Also, a firefighter was injured in this as well. So this happened at around 5:30 this morning on North Lake City Valley Road, which is on the city's eastern outskirts. Fire officials, they say that when they got there, they found a farmhouse fully up in flames. Then they were able to pull out the 13-year-old girl and her parents, but unfortunately, the girl was declared dead on the scene. Her parents taken to the nearby hospital, one in critical condition, the other in serious condition. Also, a firefighter was taken to the hospital because he had fell down 2 flights of stairs in part of the search and rescue efforts, but he has since been released from the hospital. So again, it's a very active scene in an active investigation, as we just saw where Morgan Rydell was right there. You could see the damage that was in the back. We could still see smoke coming from the house, which means that they're still working. You can see right here just what that fire has left behind, and it's taken several crews to get it under control. We're still working to learn how long it's going to take for them to be able to get everything put out, you know, in the case of hot spots and other conditions like that. And it looks like it's an older home as well, so no telling, you know, if it could reignite any flames or anything like that.
Well, as we could see in Morgan's shot there, that it was still smoking in the background. Now, Morgan did just wrap up that interview with the public information officer from the Independence Fire Department. We do have that interview back for you right now, so we'll let you listen in. Again, this happened just moments ago from the battalion chief there, who was in charge of the investigation of this fire.
Do you know what happened out here, or how can you explain to us what happened?
Well, what we know so far is that at about 10 after 5 this morning, our units were dispatched on a house fire. We got here, and there was heavy fire showing from the rear side of the house. They started an aggressive fire attack with aggressive interior search. The end result was we have one confirmed fatality, and we have 2 confirmed injuries, one critical, the other serious. And then we have a firefighter who was injured during the search. He fell down 2 flights of stairs, had his face piece pulled from his face. He was transported to the hospital and later released. Our crews are still on scene. We are waiting for the fire to be completely extinguished before we can do a joint investigation between Independence Fire, Police, and the State Fire Marshal's Office.
Do you know of the 3 people that were killed and then injured in this fire, all the same family?
Yes.
Do you have an approximate age on the victims here?
I don't have any confirmation on the ages.
The house there, was it an older home, or is there anything about it that made that fire any more intense or difficult to find?
Older homes are built a little different, but until we get in there and really find out, we don't, not going to speculate.
Okay.
You know, in the sense of y'all just coming out on scene here today, it's tough to lose any community member.
Sure.
Let alone, we learned that it was a young girl here. You know, what kind of message you have for the community just as far as the investigation goes forward, just kind of the community support that may be required here?
Oh boy. Just rely on one another, be good to each other, and try to be there for each other. I know this family has extended family and friends that are going to really need support from the community right now, and just be there for them, and your thoughts and prayers and hearts, you know, let them know that you're thinking about them. As far as 4th of July, let's be safe. If I have one message about fire prevention, it's make sure you have a working smoke alarm in your house. They absolutely save lives. We don't know if this house had working smoke alarms yet or not, but if you don't have them, get them.
I'll ask this because somebody will be asking me to ask you this. Any sense of, I know there's an investigation going on. Would there have been any fireworks that would have been part of the problem here?
Nothing's being ruled out at this time because nothing started. It's highly possible, but I can't say one way or another.
All right.
The distance from a water source, a readily available water source, did that pose any kind of challenges for your crews? Because you're probably about a quarter mile
right
from the nearest hydrant.
The nearest hydrant is actually up by the house, and we were able to hook into that. This was a supplemental hydrant, and for the extra water for the ladder truck. So we didn't have any water supply issues out here, fortunately.
Two-story. Is it just the home that was on fire, or is there other structures that were burning too?
It's a 2-story farm home, and it had a porch on the back that was also attached to a storage building.
Okay. And you don't know where you can't tell yet where the ignition source would have been? Or
no, we just know that it looks to be like the back of the house was where the main involvement was.
Are y'all going to be the investigating agency, or is there any kind of fire marshal's office coming out
Yeah,
here?
we're going to do a joint investigation. The fire marshal's office is going to take the lead. It's our fire investigation unit with IPDs, detectives, and the state fire marshal.
And that's the latest from the Independence Fire Department there on scene of this deadly house fire there on the eastern outskirts of Independence, western side of Buckner, Missouri, off of North Lake City Valley Road there on the, again, the Independence east outskirts there. Just a horrible way to start, again, what is supposed to be a joyous day here in Kansas City, across the country, right, for the 4th of July. And you heard the question posed to the firefighter there, if fireworks perhaps, played a part of this. Of course, this time of year, your mind always goes to thinking about that. Of course, they have not confirmed any of that. They're just beginning their investigations to this tragic event, again, in Independence, where a house fire killed a 13-year-old girl here early this morning, injuring critically one and two of her parents, and they are still in the hospital this morning. And also, they said one of their firefighters was injured trying to fight this fire. They got called in after the Fort Osage Fire District started battling at around 5 o'clock this morning. Taylor, just a horrible chain of events here that have happened on the eastern side of our city this morning.
Yeah, and one thing that I picked up that was said there was that they're not ruling anything out right now as far as what the cause was. But one thing that stood out to me was his emphasis on smoke alarms. Now, he said that he couldn't confirm or, if that was involved with this incident at all, but it is always a good reminder to folks to make sure that you do have your working smoke alarms. I know sometimes that it starts to chirp and it gets on our nerves, and we try to ignore when we need to change the batteries, but it's always an important reminder.
Yeah, and we do have our Morgan Rydell. We're going to go back out to her here shortly. She's getting ready and getting a little bit more information here that we can see. Actually, she is in front of the camera right now, so let's go ahead and bring Morgan back in. I think, Morgan, I just kind of wanted to get your take from what the firefighters on scene said to you during that little statement area, but also, I mean, this is still an active fire. We can still see smoke coming out of the home there behind your left shoulder right now.
Yeah, it's the back part of this home that is still smoking out here. I'm going to move out of the way so we can maybe try and zoom in to that back part there. There are still a lot of crews on scene trying to make sure that smoke gets knocked down. We don't see any active flames, which is good, but it's just kind of a somber scene. It's a holiday. There's a young girl who died here. These firefighters had one of their own injured this morning. Luckily okay, but it's a tough scene. They came out here right around 5 o'clock, and they are still out here. It is hot. We saw them kind of wrapping up some of the hoses, getting some water, just kind of trying to gather themselves after getting this fire put out, and now kind of just trying to start that investigation piece of what went on out here. I know y'all kind of mentioned that smoke detector piece that definitely caught my eye. This is an older home, and this is going to be an investigation to figure out what happened, why maybe people didn't know what was going on. So that is going to be a big piece of this investigation. We're going to kind of keep asking those questions as this moves forward.
Yeah, when we look at the house there, you can kind of see that some of the roof has collapsed and caved in on it. Did they say did that happen as they were fighting the fire, or was that the result of the fire itself?
They haven't elaborated on that piece. I have seen some firefighters actually standing up there on that roof area that is kind of flattened there, just kind of trying to look down and investigate a little bit, make sure all those hot spots are put out. But when firefighters arrived, they said it was fully engulfed. This was a big fire when they first got here, so they really don't know where it started, what kind of this looked like before, and they're going to kind of look into all of that as this investigation moves forward.
I do have a question for you as well, Morgan. So, of course, we've been talking about the smoke that we can still see behind you. Were they given any indication of how long they're going to be out there? Are they worried about any hot spots?
Yeah, so there are still quite a few hot spots that they are working to put out. I can actually hear some of the water that's being dumped still on those hot spots. I'm going to move out of the way so you can see that smoke a little better. They are going to be putting fire on this putting water on this property until all of that smoke is knocked down. Luckily, there are no spots of flames that we are seeing, so that kind of makes it a little bit easier. But it is hot, and they've been working out here since 5 a.m. They're going to be working to get those hot spots out, and then, like I said, that's when the investigation is going to kick off. So it is going to be a long day out here for these crews, not only for the crews, but for the investigators that are they going to start to take over. We just saw a group of firefighters walk past with waters in their hands, so they're kind of starting to take care of themselves now that all those flames are knocked down, and then get this smoke out of the way and begin that investigation.
All right, one last question here, Morgan. I know this is a bigger property, a lot of farmhouses out there, a lot of farm ground out there. Is this the only building that was affected on that property? I know there's a lot of barns and machine sheds there in the area as well. Did this fire only affect this one, only the house, or was anything else affected by it?
Yeah, I can actually show you those. There's buildings right here behind me, just to the side here, all the way down this entire property. None of these have been impacted, but then you make it down there to the house that did start on fire earlier this morning, and it looks like that there's some separation in the materials there. There's that brick building in the back and then the home in the front. The firefighters here told us that brick building, it was like a patio connected to a storage area. They were connected, but a little bit separated from the home. So those are two relatively separate structures there, but all kind of connected to the same backside of the home.
All right, Morgan Rydell again live for us, come from Buckner, Missouri here this morning at a deadly house fire. Morgan, thank you. She's going to go and keep trying to gather some information, and we'll have the latest update from her coming up during KCTV5 News at noon. And of course, if we do get any additional new breaking news elements of this tragic event, we'll of course push them straight to your phone via the KCTV5 News app, or you can always go to kctv5.com. Again, that was Morgan Rydell out there live for us this morning. Of course, here is the story page on kctv5.com. You can kind of see where this happened at. It's near the intersection of East Bunshoe Road and North Lake City Valley Road. Just to the south of that interchange is where the property is located. And again, we will continue updating this page with as much as we know about this just tragedy here happening early on Independence Day here in Kansas City, Taylor.
And, you know, there was another thing that Morgan said. She talked about how the firefighters, she saw them walking by her with bottles of water, you know, to keep themselves hydrated. And on a day like this where it's really hot, they have on all of their equipment, and then dealing with the flames. I know that can be a lot on first responders as well, dealing with a situation like that.
Yeah, and I mean, especially one of their own was hurt in this fire as well, falling down a couple of different flights of stairs, which pulled his faceplate away from him. And you know, those firefighters, they have those oxygen masks to help them breathe in those low oxygen, high smoke environments. So I can only imagine, you know, what they're having to go through, not only fighting a fire that ultimately took the life of a young child, but then seeing one of their own injured in that manner as well. So just again, just a very scary, tragic scene out here in Buckner, Missouri, here or Independence, I guess, kind of pretty much in between the two cities here this morning. Again, we'll have a little bit of video from earlier today that we can show you from when our crews first got on scene. You can see the aerial apparatus and some of those firefighters on the roof of the house there as they were working. And then luckily, they said that there was a fire hydrant that was right next to the home. So they're able to access that and immediately start putting water on the house to get that fire contained as quickly as possible. But unfortunately, a 13-year-old girl perished in this. Her parents injured, taken to the hospital. That firefighter was taken to the hospital, treated, and released. So luckily, it sounds like his injuries were not life-threatening or anything serious, but still just a really awful scene this morning out in Buckner, Missouri. I'm going to bring back up the live shot real quick here, Taylor, because it looks like it's starting to smoke a little bit more. It looks like maybe they're putting a little bit more water on some hot spots out there. That's really kind of starting to flare up that steam there in that kind of area behind the house that they were talking about during that little press conference there.
Yeah, and especially when they don't know the origin of where it started or where the fire originated from, you know, that can make it a little concerning about the potential for hot spots, or knowing, you know, where to keep an eye on things in the case that something does flare back up again. Because I feel like when Morgan was live a few minutes ago, the smoke wasn't as much as we're seeing
Yeah.
right now.
And then she said that she could hear them start to put more water on. And again, this is a live look at that fire right now.
And you can see the water right
Yeah,
there, actually,
exactly.
kind of in that little corner there by the smoke. So again, we have crews on the scene of a fire between Buckner and Independence. That was deadly. A young girl did pass away as a result of this fire this morning. Happened around 5:30. Not only did this young lady pass away, but also her parents were taken to the hospital. One is in serious condition, one in critical condition. As we also mentioned to you, a firefighter was injured. He had fallen down a couple of stairs, but was since released from the hospital. So we're continuing to keep a close eye. We have a crew there, as you can see with this live shot here. Just a very, very somber start to the 4th of July.
Yeah, unfortunately. Now, what we did is get a chance to speak with the PIO of Independence Fire, I believe. We played that for you a little bit ago. We're going to go ahead and play it again if you're just joining us again right now. A deadly house fire out there in portions of Buckner, Missouri. This is what the Independence Fire investigator and investigations PIO, Public Information Officer of the fire department had to say earlier this morning.
Do you know what happened out here? How can you explain to us what happened?
Well, what we know so far is that at about 10 after 5 this morning, our units were dispatched on a house fire. We got here and there was heavy fire showing from the rear side of the house. They started an aggressive fire attack with aggressive interior search. The end result was we have one confirmed fatality and we have 2 confirmed injuries, one critical, the other serious, and then we have a firefighter who was injured during the search. He fell down 2 flights of stairs, had his face piece pulled from his face. He was transported to the hospital and later released. Our crews are still on scene. We are waiting for the fire to be completely extinguished before we can do a joint investigation between Independence Fire, Police, and the State Fire Marshal's Office.
Do you know of the 3 people that were killed and then injured in this fire, all the same family?
Yes.
Do you have an approximate age on the victims here?
I don't have any confirmation on the ages.
The house there, was it an older home, or is there anything about it that made that fire any more intense or difficult to find?
Older homes are built a little different, but until we get in there and really find out, we not going to speculate.
Okay.
You know, in the sense of y'all just coming out on scene here today, it's tough to lose any community member.
Sure.
Let alone, we learned that it was a young girl here. You know, what kind of message you have for the community just as far as the investigation goes forward, just kind of the community support that may be required here?
Oh boy. Just rely on one another, be good to each other, and try to be there for each other. I know this family has extended family and friends that are going to really need support from the community right now, and just be there for them, and your thoughts and prayers and hearts, let them know that you're thinking about them. As far as 4th of July, let's be safe. If I have one message about fire prevention, it's make sure you have a working smoke alarm in your house. They absolutely save lives. We don't know if this house had working smoke alarms yet or not, but if you don't have them, get them.
I'll ask this because somebody will be asking me to ask you this. Any sense of, I know there's an investigation going on. Would there have been any fireworks that would have been part of the problem here?
Nothing's being ruled out at this time because nothing started. It's highly possible, but I can't say one way or another.
All right.
The distance from a water source, a readily available water source, did that pose any kind of challenges for your crews? Because you're probably about a quarter mile
Right.
from the nearest hydrant.
The nearest hydrant is actually up by the house, and we were able to hook into that. This was a supplemental hydrant, and for the extra water for the ladder truck. So we didn't have any water supply issues out here, fortunately.
Is Is it just the home that was on fire, or is there other structures that were burning too?
It's a 2-story farm home, and it had a porch on the back that was also attached to a storage building.
Okay. And you don't know where you can't tell yet where the
Just
ignition source would have been? Or
no, we just know that it looks to be like the back of the house was where the main involvement was.
Are y'all going to be the investigating agency, or is there any kind of fire marshal's office coming
Yeah,
out here?
we're going to do a joint investigation. The fire marshal's office is going to take the lead. It's our fire investigation unit with IPDs, detectives, and the state fire marshal.
Again, that's the latest from the PIO from out there in Independence on the scene of this deadly house fire this morning that unfortunately killed a 13-year-old girl, sent both of her parents to the hospital, also injured an Independence firefighter this morning. I do want to give you another live look out there here before we wrap up today. You can see firefighters putting water on that fire still that's going through some hot spots. As you mentioned, that building on the exterior portion, the rear part of the house, still having to fight some. We've seen some smoke and some steam coming out of there as the firefighters are continuing to have to work on this. And of course, that we know it's July here in Kansas City. It's going to be getting very hot later today, and those firefighters are out there working in that heat, trying to figure out just what happened here again at this deadly house fire over in Buckner, Missouri, off of North Lake City Valley Road, just south of Bunshoe Road.
And so we do have a crew on scene, and they are going to be there as we work to gather more information. Of course, we have our new newscast. Bill and I will be there, and then there will be a live report from our Morgan Rydell about the latest information that we get between now and then. But everything that we have so far, you can find on our website, kctv5.com. Be sure to also download our app if you don't have it, so that you can get our latest push alerts and updates, and everything that we learn will be added to this story here, so we can keep you up to date, especially as we wait to hear about the condition of the parents who were hurt in this fire, one in serious condition, one in critical condition.
And again, with today being the 4th of July, we know that this is going to be a busy day for those fire crews out there, as they kind of made mention. Again, they're just in the preliminary stages of their investigation as to what happened here. They don't know that it was caused by fireworks. They don't not know that it wasn't caused by that either. So there still have to be a very thorough investigation of this before they can come to a conclusion of what caused this fire here early this morning. And as soon as we get that information, of course, we're going to push it out to you via the KCTV5 News app, and like Taylor said there, on kctv5.com. And of course, we will have an update coming up today at noon. But for until then at noon, that'll do it for Taylor Johnson. I'm Bill Hurlbrink. Again, we'll have the latest updates coming up here in just a couple hours here on KCTV5 News at noon. Have a wonderful day.